Namo Namaha Bhavtam Sarvesham Hardam Swagatam. Welcome back to the channel Sanskrit Sopanam. I hope you are doing great. I'm also good. And in our series Learning Sanskrit through Gita, today we are decoding the 20th shloka from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And on the very first look, you will see there is a shift again in the poetic meter, in the chandas of the shloka. The same shift that we saw in some of the previous shlokas. From the usual Anushtup chanda, the narration shifted into Upajati chanda. That is a mixture of two chandas. That same shift is what you will see in this particular shloka also. Apart from that, contextually, Krishna he is still explaining about the self, the nature of the self, the Atma. And in this particular shloka, he is hinting at a concept that is Shad Vikarha, the six modifications that the gross forms, like the physical bodies, they undergo. So anyways, all of these things we are going to see when we decode today's shloka. So without wasting any more time, let's quickly dive into today's video. Okay, so this is the shloka that we will decode today. And again, in the very first look, you can see that compared to the usual Anushtup poetic meter, that formation, this is a different poetic meter, of course. It is a Upajati chanda. That is why the difference in this presentation. But anyways, let me go through the shloka once. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. So this is the shloka, and this of course is the sandhi vichhed version of the shloka. So again we can spot few sandhis. You see kadachinnayam. So actually the words are kadachit, then na, and then ayam. So dirgha sandhi is happening here, nayam, and then there is a anunasika sandhi that is happening here. Kadachit nayam, kadachinnayam, what we see in the shloka. And similarly, you can also spot the usual ukara sandhi. So ajaha, this is changing into ajo nityaha due to ukara sandhi. Same thing is happening here. Shashvatah ayam, so it is shashvatoyam. So again, all the usual sandhis that we witness, all the detail as usual is in the PDF file. Do download that PDF file. It also have some extra detail on the remarks. So please download that PDF file. Go through it in your own time to practice these things. The practice, the sandhi rules, the word by word breakdown, all these things. So the link in the description box, download that. We'll just directly move into the decoding of the shloka. Okay, so we are starting our decoding using these two words. So today we are not starting with a kriya pada, a dhatu rupa. Instead, we are starting with these two words. Ayam kadachit. Ayam. So this is a pronoun. And with this, we are referring to this self or this Atma. So instead of using the Namapada, that is Atma. So instead of using Atma, we are rather using the pronoun here, that is Ayam. That means this. That translates as this self, this Atma. And this Ayam, so this of course is coming from the Pratipadika idam. So coming from this pronoun Pratipadika, the form here is masculine gender form, Pullinga. Why? Because again, this pronoun is hinting towards the self. And self is Atman. And Atman is a Pullinga. It is a masculine gender noun. So of course the pronoun that we are using to point towards it will also assume the same properties. And in Prathama Vibhakti, that is first word case and singular, Ekvachana. So idam in these three properties becomes ayam. Again, this self. Okay. And this kadachit. So kadachit, as you can see, the usual word kada here. So kada means when. So when we ask this question, that when. And you may have noticed this chit, this addition of chit with all the different forms of the question pronoun. So all the pronouns that we get from this Pratipadika, Kim Pratipadika. Suppose we have kaha, for which when we want to ask who, so kaha. So with this kaha and with again all the different forms of, so you can also have kasya, that whose. You can also have kasmin. So kasmin is in which place. So anyways, with all the different pronouns and the forms of pronouns that you get out of this Pratipadika Kim, so we use this chit with them. So kahachit, you may have seen this kahachit, kaschit, generate due to sandhi translates as, then kasya chit, then kasmin chit. So what is the meaning of this chit? So it is simple to identify. See, kaha, this means who, right? So we are not sure about the person. That is why we are asking who. But when we add this chit with it, so kaha chit, this means anyone or someone. So kaha, we are asking a question that who is that person. With kaha chit, we are just saying some person, any person in that sense. Okay, same you can see here, kasya. So if I am using kasya, so I am saying whose, like whose pen, whose house. So kasya is whose. But when I say kasya chit, so I am saying anyone's. So it can be anyone's pen, it can be anyone's house, and in the sense of someone also, like someone's pen, someone's house. So I hope you are getting the sense of what this chit it does. Okay, and same thing you can see here. So kada means when. We are asking the question when. And when we say kadachit, so we are basically saying that at some time, at any time in that sense. So basically giving a sense of some arbitrary time, that at any time, at some time. Okay, so that is what this chit, addition of this chit is doing here. Okay, this is what we have so far. And now when we'll move forward, so we have na jayate and na mriyate. These are the two statements that we are making. So jayate, this is coming from jan dhatu, and jan dhatu means to be born. Okay, jan dhatu, that means to be born, to take birth in that sense. And mriyate, so this is coming from mri dhatu, and mri dhatu means again in the completely opposite sense, that is to die. Okay, so I hope these two dhatu they are clear, and both of them are basically talking about this self. Okay, so both of them are taking the same form, that is the third person. We are talking about some third person. Whom we are talking about? We are talking about this Atma, this self. So third person, of course, singular, that is ekvachana, and the tense here is simple lakar, that is present tense in Sanskrit. So jan dhatu in third person singular lat lakar changes into jayate, and mri dhatu in the same properties changes into mriyate. Okay, and for both these kriya pada, this self, this is the subject, this I am is the subject here. So the statements become this self at any time is neither born, na jayate. We are negating the meaning here, right? So this self, this Atma at any time, at any arbitrary time is neither born or na mriyate. Neither dies, nor dies. Okay. And if we'll move on now, so again, nava ayam. So basically nava again, not, and this va is in the sense of or. So nava basically means nor. Ayam, we already know that this self. So first Krishna told Arjuna that this self is neither born nor it dies. And then he's saying nor this self bhutva. And bhutva, this is coming from bhudhatu. And bhudhatu we know, bhudhatu means to become. To be or to become in both the senses. And bhutva, so we can already see, we have seen this form so many times, that this verbal root bhu is being modified using twa pratyaya, twa suffix. Because I want to say that after being, after becoming, okay, after coming into existence. So to give this sense of after doing the action, we use this twa pratyaya. We have used it so many times before. Okay, so this is clear. And before getting the entire meaning, let us open this second part also, that bhujaha bhavita. Okay, you see this word bhavita. So this is also coming from the same bhudhatu. So we know it is third person and singular, but the tense, the lakara here is lut lakar. And lut lakar, as in English we say, first future tense. So lut lakar in Sanskrit basically means future tense. And in Sanskrit we have two kinds of future tense. The more commonly used is lit lakar. So for bhudhatu, we also know the form bhavishyati, bhavishyati, bhavishyata, bhavishyanti. He will become. So that is lit lakar. That is called the general future tense. General future tense in the sense, whatever time has to come. So all that time that is yet to come, that is that general future tense represented by lit lakar in Sanskrit. But this particular lut lakar, this is called anadyatana bhavishyat kal. So this keyword anadyatana, this simply means the time that is not today. So in Sanskrit, adyatana, this word means this day, the present day, today. So adyatana represents that. If you negate it, so the word will become anadyatana. And anadyatana will say not this day, just excluding this day, this current day. So this lut lakara is anadyatana bhavishyat kal. So basically it means all the time that is yet to come, the future tense bhavishya kala, but not today. So all the time that is from tomorrow onwards, basically from the next 12 a.m. midnight mark onwards, whatever time will come, that is this anadyatana bhavishyat kal represented by this tense lut lakara in Sanskrit. So I hope the difference between the general lit lakara future tense and this lut lakara future tense, I hope the difference is clear. Okay. So anyways, in this lut lakara future tense, this bhudhatu, this changes into bhavita. So the future tense obviously will become. Bhavita is will become, right? And this word bhujaha. So this bhujaha, this is actually the pratipadika is bhuyas. And due to some internal sandhi rule, this sakara at the end of the pada, this changes into visarga. You will notice this with a lot of different words, right? So that is why this bhuyas is written as bhujaha here. But this bhujas, This is a indeclinable. This is a avyaya. Okay, so this particular word again, it may look like that this is also some form of this bhu dhatu only, because we have bhutva, the kridanta, then we have bhavita, the kriyapada. So bhuja also looks like it is coming from bhu dhatu, but no, it does not have anything to do with this bhu dhatu. This is a avya, a indeclinable, and this simply means anything more. Okay, anything more, or we also say in English, no, furthermore, that furthermore, and it is also used in the sense of again. Okay, so it has some multiple meanings, but the one I am using in the context of shloka is this, anything more. Okay, bhujaha. Okay, so I hope bhutva, bhavita, bhujaha, all of these three words are clear. And now the statement that we get is Nava ayam bhutva bhujaha bhavita. Nor this self, Nava ayam, nor this self, after coming into existence, bhujaha bhavita, will become anything more. Okay, so that is the sense here. Okay, so far what Krishna has said is this self, kadachit, this self at any time is na jayate, is neither born nor it dies. And then he continues, nor this self after coming into existence will become anything more. So this is what Krishna is saying here. It has a deeper significance, these two lines, and that has to do with something called Shat Vikaraha. 6 modifications that we find in Vedanta, this Advaita Vedanta philosophy. What is it? We'll talk about in the end of the video after Anvay. First, let us see the decoding of the shloka. Okay, so now let us see the second line. We are starting again with this word ayam. Again, we know ayam is this Atma, this self. And now we have these 4 words, Ajaha, Nityaha, Shashvataha, Puranaha. So all these 4 words Krishna is using to describe this self, this Atma. What is its nature? So all these 4 words are like Visheshana. That is why I'm asking Kidrishaha. Kidrishaha ayam. So Krishna is saying Ajaha and Nityaha. Ajaha, this simply means unborn. Nityaha simply means eternal. And again, both of these words are pretty straightforward, right? You can also see the form that this is coming from Aja, this Pratipadika. And Nityaha is of course coming from Nitya Pratipadika. And again, all these adjectives are describing this ayam. So they of course will also take the same form, the masculine gender Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachana form. So Aja becomes Ajaha and Nitya becomes Nityaha. That is what we see in the shloka. And then he is saying that it is Shashvataha. And Shashvataha means something that is constant. Basically something that is changeless. Okay. And Puranaha is something that is ancient. Something that is beyond the time. So something that is beyond this structure of time. To show that ancient nature of it, he is using this word Puranaha. Okay. So with these 4 words, Krishna is just describing this self, that it is unborn, it is eternal, it is changeless, and it is ancient. And then he says that since this self is clearly something that is eternal, that is why ayam na hanyate. And ayam na hanyate simply means that the self is not killed. Hanyate, this is of course coming from han dhatu. Han dhatu means to kill, and the form here is, again we know it is third person because we are talking about this self, singular, and the tense here is also the simple present tense lat lakara in Sanskrit. But if you see the form hanyate, is killed, is not killed. So you can clearly see that this is a karmani prayoga. This is a passive voice construct. So han dhatu in kartari prayoga will means that this self kills. But in karmani prayoga it means this self is killed. Okay, because this self is now acting like a object, acting like a karma. In passive voice construct, in karmani prayoga, the karma takes the first word case. The karma becomes more important for the verb. So this self na hanyate is not killed. Okay, so just take notice of these things, that this han dhatu is in the karmani prayoga format. Okay, and again, visually also, generally in most cases you will see that when the verb form is in the karmani format, so first of all, this form will always be the atmanepadi form. So hanyate, hanyate, hanyete, hanyante. So te, ite, ante. So all these are atmanepadi form. So the verb form is in atmanepadi, and you will also see the addition of this ya. So in most of the karmani prayoga verb form, you will see this addition of ya also. So visually also, you can try and guess that this one here is the karmani form. But anyways, Krishna is saying that this self, due to its eternal nature, is na hanyate, is not killed. But now I'm asking the question that kada, when this self is not killed. So for that, Krishna is saying sharire hanyamane, that when the body is being killed, basically when the body is killed, ayam, this self is not killed. Okay, this Sharire Hanyamane. So this is the Sati Saptami Prayoga. And we have spoken about this Sati Saptami Prayoga in our 40th shloka of the chapter 1. In the 40th shloka and the 41st shloka of the chapter 1, we spoke about this Sati Saptami Prayoga. We saw the examples also. But for a quick refresher, Sati Saptami Prayoga is the special use of this Saptami Vibhakti, this seventh case. And it is used when we have to answer this, that kada, when. See, the two words here. So the first word is Sharira. And Sharira, this means body. Okay, so we are basically talking about the Sthula Sharira, the physical body. And then you see this word Hanyamane. So this of course is coming from the Pratipadika Hanyamana. Okay, and if you can identify this Mana, so if you can identify this addition Mana, so you will identify that this is due to the use of Shanach Pratyaya, the Shanach suffix. And if you are still unable to recognize this Shanach Pratyaya, then maybe you can identify this suffix Shatra suffix. So now a lot of you will recall this. Shatra suffix is used when we want to say while doing the action, when the action is being done. Okay, so just by looking at this word Hanyamana, you can at least identify the dhatu, Han dhatu, the same Han dhatu that we are using in Hanyate. Han dhatu means to kill. So if I modify this Han dhatu using Shatra Pratyaya, so the meaning will become while killing. Okay, while killing. Okay, so that is a use of this Shatra Pratyaya. But this dhatu here, Han dhatu. So as we have seen here, Na Hanyate, that the structure here is Karmani Prayoga. So we are basically framing the structure in passive voice, Karmani Prayoga. So when we use any verb root in Karmani Prayoga, we know that we get the Atmanepadi form, we follow the Atmanepadi form. And that is why we cannot use this Shatra Pratyaya. Okay, why? Because that is the only difference between Shatra and Shanach. That Shanach Pratyaya is used when the verb root is the Atmanepadi form. Okay, both of them, Shanach and Shatra Pratyaya, both of them do the exact same thing. That while doing the action. So with Han Dhatu, while killing, while being killed. So both of them do the same thing, but Shatra Pratyaya is used with the usual Parasmayapadi Dhatu Roop and Shanach Pratyaya is used with the Atmanepadi Dhatu Roop. And when we use Shanach Pratyaya, then we get this Mana. So for instance, you take this Seva Dhatu. So Seva, Sevate, Sevete, Sevante. It is an Atmanepadi Dhatu, Seva Dhatu. That means to serve. And if I modify this using Shanach Pratyaya, so what I get is Seva Mana. And this Seva Mana Pratipadika again will convey that continuity of the action. Save to serve, Seva Mana while serving. Okay. But this Shanach Pratyaya adds this Mana, this thing. So this is how you identify these things. And now we can identify this Hanyamana means something being killed. Okay, something that is being killed. Okay, so that is the sense, that is the meaning of this Pratipadika Hanyamana. Okay, so we have these two Pratipadika, Sharira, that means body, Hanyamana, that means being killed. And now when I want to convey that when the body is being killed, so Yada is when. So when the body is being killed, in order to represent this, I can use the spatial use of this seventh case, Saptami Vibhakti, that is Sati Saptami Prayoga. And in that Sati Saptami Prayoga, all I have to do is change both these Pratipadika in their Saptami Vibhakti form. So Sharira, it becomes Sharire, Hanyamana, it becomes Hanyamane. And by simply changing this Pratipadika into their Saptami Vibhakti, seventh case, I am now conveying the meaning that Yada, that when the body is being killed, Sharire Hanyamane, when the body is being killed. And I can also rephrase this sentence as upon killing the body. Okay, when the body is being killed or upon killing the body, Krishna is saying, I am, this self is not killed. That when the body is being killed, this self is not killed. So that is the contextual meaning. And this is Sharire Hanyamane, this is the Sati Saptami Prayoga. But again, I'll suggest that you can go back after this video to that 40th and 41st video in the first chapter also. There again, we took another example of this Sati Saptami Prayoga. So you can just revise this if you have any doubt about this concept, but that is a use. And now let us see the Anvay along with the translation. Okay. So just as we saw in the previous shloka, Krishna here again is describing the nature of the self. So I am, that means this self, Najayate, is neither born, Nava, nor Mriyate. It dies. And then he continues and says, Nava and nor I am this self Bhutva. After coming into existence, after becoming Bhujaha Bhavita, will become anything more. Okay, so this self at any time is neither born nor it dies, and nor will it, after coming into existence, become anything more. And then he further describes the Atma as this self is Ajaha, unborn, Nityaha, eternal, Shashvataha, changeless, and Puranaha. That is ancient, that is beyond the time, beyond the concept of time. So he says, and this unborn, eternal, changeless, and ancient self is not killed. And is not killed when? So sharire hanyamane. That the self is not killed even when the body is being killed. Even upon the killing of body, this self is not killed. Okay, so that was the entire translation of the shloka. But to get the entire meaning out of this shloka, we need to understand a concept, a Vedantic concept, that is Shat Vikaraha, 6 modifications that any physical form, suppose we take an example of our own body. So our own body, our own physical body, it undergoes 6 modifications throughout its lifetime. So what is that? So starting from the very first is existence. Existence is bhavanam. So existence is basically when a life is conceived. So in the mother's womb, when the fetus, it appears. So you can think of it that it is a existence. That existence has happened, bhavanam. And then the second stage is the birth. So when after the entire gestation period, that baby is given birth. So that is called the birth, the jananam. So that is the second modification. Then the third modification is growth. So when the body, when the baby is born, it is very little small, but in time the body grows and all the organs, they develop and everything. So that stage is growth, that is vardhanam. That is the third modification. Then the fourth modification is maturity. So maturity is basically when we achieve our prime stage. So when our entire body achieves its prime stage, so that is maturity. So up till that stage. So that is the fourth modification. Then the fifth modification, of course, is the decay, the kshayanam. That now the body is starting to lose its power. It is starting to decay. So that is the onset of the old age, the later part of our life. So that is the fifth modification. And the sixth modification is finally the death, the nashanam. When the body eventually dies, it goes back into that 5 tattva. So these shat vikara, these 6 modifications of existence, birth, growth, maturity, decay, and death. So this is a Vedantic concept, and all the physical manifestation, all the physical forms, basically our own body, it has to undergo this. And in contrast to our own body, our own physical body, Krishna is showing how this is in complete negation to the self, to the Atma. Because the self, the Atma, it is neither born, na jayate, it is neither born, and na mriyate, it neither dies. So see, out of these 6 modifications, he has removed those 2, he has negated those 2, that it is neither born, and he has said kadachit, that at any time, it is neither born, nor at any time it ever dies. So 2 modifications gone. Then the 4 modifications, that is the existence, the growth, the maturity, and the decay. So those 4 modifications are also negated when Krishna further says that nava bhutva, that nor after becoming, that he is pointing towards the existence, that having been or after coming into existence, bhujaha bhavita, na bhuja bhavita, that it will not become anything more. So the 4 modifications that were left, that after being, it will not become anything more, that goes to say that it will neither grow, nor it will mature, nor it will decay. So basically with this particular shloka, Krishna is negating all the 6 modifications that are sthula sharira, that our physical body it undergoes, but our atma, the self, it does not undergo. So that is what he's hinting at. That is how he's showing the contrast between what we identify as ourself, but what is the true nature of ourself, that it is completely untouched. And then again, after negating these 6 modifications, he also again repeats the same information when he says that it is ajaha, it is unborn, it is nitya, it is eternal, so it never dies, and it is shashvata, it does not change, changeless. So it does not go with that 4 modifications also, growth, maturity, decay, and all. And then in the end he says it is puratanaha, it is puranaha, that it is beyond time, it's so ancient. So this is a very good shloka. It is hinting at all the different Vedantic concepts also. You can find many different textbooks written by Adi Shankaracharya where he talks about these concepts. And if you want to begin at some point, so we have that are something called as Prakarana Grantha. So Prakarana Grantha are introductory text to all these philosophies. If you want to enter into Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta philosophy, So in that Prakarana Grantha, you can start with any of that. Tattva Bodha is a very good book to start. It is basically a book of definitions of all the different terms that are used in Vedantic philosophy. So it is a glossary of those terms, Tattva Bodha. So you can start with these books, and there you can see all these concepts, Shadvikara, six modifications, what is Thula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, all of this. So it just after reading them, this all becomes more enjoyable. It starts to give deeper meaning. But anyways, that was it. I just wanted to quickly touch up on a theme that I felt that it was hinted with the shloka. So apart from this, all the grammar and everything I hope was clear. Do download that PDF file from the link in the description box. Go through it, practice the Sandhi rules and again word by word breakdown. I'll meet you in another video with another shloka. Until then, stay awesome, stay happy, keep learning Sanskrit. Vayam punah milamaha. Dhanyavad.